Hello there. The UK needs economic growth, but we appear to be going into another lockdown of another kind. Now, if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and then like and comment below. Right now, we desperately need economic growth. But Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt seem intent on putting the UK into some sort of tax-induced lockdown that could be as harmful as the pandemic lockdown itself. And with the way things are going, you'd think it was designed to get rid of individual enterprise and put everyone into the hands of the public sector or the ruthless mega corporations. All while forking out UK taxpayers' money on net zero unicorns. The UK economy took a dip in GDP in the last quarter. It was only 0.2%, but a dip nonetheless. So if there's another dip in GDP in the final quarter, we will enter 2023 in an official recession. And the UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt is preparing us for an autumn statement that he says will grip inflation, balance the nation's books and get debt falling. And to do that, he will remove 25 billion quid from taxpayers' pockets and lop 35 billion off of public spending. And I can't believe that there are rumours that as a part of this, Hunt will be further throttling growth by hitting small businesses with a stealth VAT raid. You know, those small businesses that the Tories are always calling the backbone of the economy. Not that they're Tories anymore anyway. And by freezing the VAT threshold at £85,000, he will make it harder for many small businesses to stay afloat as prices rise. This cliff edge threshold already disincentivises small businesses from growing, with many saying growth just isn't worth it if they suddenly get tipped into paying the taxman VAT on all of their turnover, as well as all of the onerous paperwork that goes with it. Can you imagine suddenly having to either take a 20% loss on every transaction or putting your prices up by 20%? How many of your clients would go elsewhere? In fact, many small concerns either embark on a go slow or they down tools and go into hibernation if they get near that threshold, when what they should be incentivised to do is grow their company and therefore grow the wider economy. What a stupid rule that is. All right for a big, well-resourced outfit, but not so good for the small operators. Hunt should be looking to either raise that threshold significantly, so incentivising those smaller businesses to keep growing, and then pay the now much larger 25% corporation tax, or be putting in place some sort of taper to make it less of a burden for small businesses to get over that threshold. But the taxman seems intent on assuming that all small businesses are on the take and so punishes them all accordingly. But this is not the way to sparking a real entrepreneurial spirit in the UK. All it does is grinds any thought of individual enterprise out of people unless they're firmly ensconced in the cloying hands of the public sector or in the greedy grasp of one of the big multinationals. And people start their own businesses because they want to be in charge of their own destinies. But that looks like being a thing of the past under our now mostly socialist political system, where the individual is not to be tolerated. Very great reset to build back better. And now for something a little different.
Of course, when you're a child, when you're like 8 or 10 or 11 years old, there is not much that you can really do to make a big difference. So then you start small. I started with turning off the lights at home to save energy, and that led to another thing, which led to another thing. And eventually I stopped flying, I became vegan and so on. And then I got my parents to do that too, because I started talking to them and they started to listen to my concerns. And by making them change, it also gave me the sort of courage that I needed to move on to start school striking. So starting somewhere is really good. Starting home, for example.
I think that's what they say, isn't it? Start where you are.
Yeah.
Greta, these days you're still just 19 years old and you are a key voice in this huge global movement. That comes with a lot of pressure. What helps you deal with that?
The most important thing is knowing that we are so many people who are fighting for the same cause. I have so many friends who I can share this with and who are also activists. And without them, it would not be possible.
Now here's a little snippet of news about Build Back Better that you may have missed. It seems that not every politician has fallen under the spell of Klaus Schwab and his World Economic Forum. Now the government of the Flemish region of Belgium holds a World Economic Forum membership. Yes. And it'll cost them €176,000 to be a member this year, and also an extra €27,000 to participate in the annual Davos meeting. But the Flemish Conservative Party, Vlaams Belang, is pressurising the government to pull out of its membership on the basis that the WEF is pursuing an undemocratic agenda to usher in a one-world government and globalism. And Sam van Rooij, a Vlaams Belang member of the European Parliament, argues that the WEF is a globalist lobby group and that it is therefore not a neutral forum and should be avoided. A sound argument, if I may say so. Now, I checked on the WEF member list, but I couldn't find the UK, thank goodness. Except for an announcement back in 2018 that the UK would be partnering with the WEF to develop the first artificial intelligence procurement policy, saying that the United Kingdom will work with the World Economic Forum Centre for the Fourth Industrial Revolution to co-design these new frameworks. And the Fourth Industrial Revolution is all about blurring the lines between the physical, the digital and the biological. Blurring the lines or jamming them together. With Schwab saying as far back as January 2014 that the Fourth Industrial Revolution would change not only what we do, but also who we are. It will affect our identity and all the issues associated with it, our sense of privacy, our notions of ownership, our consumption patterns, the time we devote to work and leisure, and how we develop our careers, cultivate our skills, meet people, and nurture relationships, Schwab wrote. So it's no wonder we hear things like, "You will own nothing and be happy," is it? And the UK government put out a white paper in June 2019 talking in exactly the same terms about the Fourth Industrial Revolution and this blurring of the physical, the digital and the biological, and the supporting of the expansion of greater experimentation, testing and trialling to get there. Wonder if the jibby-jabby was something to do with that. Anyway, nice to see the Flemish looking askance at all of this. I hope more will follow. Now I'll hand you over to Richard, who wants to talk to you about the changing UK political landscape.
Thank you, Jeff, and good evening. According to a GB News poll to find out how the great unwashed would vote in a general election, the Rishi dead cat bounce places Labour at 42%, and the Tories at 21%. Well, I am flabbergasted that the British public are so prejudiced that they are unable to relate to a multimillionaire Prime Minister who is about to make their lives even more unbearable whilst giving billions of pounds away to other countries. Don't these people know that a drop in living standards is worth the pain? Because the green agenda must move forward, regardless of any consequences. Anyway, it now looks like nothing will stop Labour from winning the next general election. who will open up borders even wider than allegedly Angela Rayner's legs in PMQs, and the free money will flow faster than Chris Whitty running away from public life. So many questions for that man. However, there is a ray of sunshine in this GB News poll, and that is Richard Tice's Reform Party are now polling at 8%, just 1% behind the Greens and the Lib Dems. The question most pundits have been asking is, does Richard Tice have enough whack to progress the party even further? Well, actually, that is the wrong question. And the real questions are, how the hell is it that Reform are not further ahead in the polls? And how can the British public wake up to what looks like a brilliant set of policies? Call me biased, in fact, call me what you like, I love it. But to me, Reform are the only political party with any potential to crack the two-party system strangulating British politics. Granted, Richard Tice comes across in a way that most Labour voters won't be able to relate to either. But his policies they just might get across to the Labour voters. They just need to be pushed by more relatable people within Reform. But I tell you one thing about Richard Tice. He does come across as the party leader, and a strong one at that. He actually looks like a leader. For too long we have been looking for a certain type of frontman, when what we need is a cohesive government that represents the people and works together, and not just working towards the aims and goals of vested interests and their greedy demands. Anyway, back over to Jeff.
Thank you for that, Richard. And finally, when subscribing, please don't forget to press that little bell and also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. And thank you all so much for taking the time to watch the show.